कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव। कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ। गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ। गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। शोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यमुनतीरावनचारि कुंज बिहारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा मुरलीधर राधे जय गौरचंद्र जय गौरचंद्र जय गौरचंद्र जय गौरचंद्र जय गौर हरि हरि हिताय गौर परमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायामुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमः श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकीम्. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summum and Bonum, Chapter 73, Lord blesses the delivered kings, text 15 and 16. Text 15. Tamna samadhishopayam yena te charanabjayo smritir yatha na viramedapi samsaratamiha. Translation. Please tell us how we may constantly remember your lotus feet, though we continue in the cycle of birth and death in this world. Purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada disciples ki jai. One can constantly remember the Lord only by His mercy. Such remembrance is the easy method to obtain supreme liberation, as explained in Bhagavad Gita 8.14. Ananyacheta satatam yomam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulabha partha nityayuktasya yogina. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain. O son of Partha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. The words api samsaratam iha indicate that the kings were approaching Lord Krishna not merely for liberation, but rather for the boon of always being able to remember his lotus feet. Such constant remembrance is a symptom of love, and love of Godhead is the actual goal of life. Text 16. It's a very, very wonderful verse. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Pranata Kleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Pranata Kleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Translation. Again and again we offer our obeisances unto Lord Krishna, Hari, the son of Vasudeva. That supreme soul, Govinda, vanquishes the suffering of all who surrender to him. So let's offer some prayers. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurinmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today we are reading from this section, continuing, where the kings, they have petitioned to Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna came, liberated them, but they're asking for something more. Oh Lord, this liberation is not sufficient. They're asking something which is going to give them eternal liberation. This is the wisdom of devotees. And then how we get that wisdom? By surrendering to Lord. They understood liberation from the chains of Jarasandha is not that important. I mean, that is okay. But the actual liberation is how we get that actual liberation. The first shloka itself they are saying. So what is happening actually? So in the first 6 verses of this chapter, they see the Lord, and then such Lord is having the Makara Kundala and then the yellow garments, Pitambara. So that is the darshan. Darshan is also a seva. So they are trying to absorb the Lord. They are worshipping the Lord by seeing the Lord. So, and then they are so much satisfied. And once that happened, then they started expressing, Lord, what we have done. We were so greedy. We were trying to exploit the earth. We were trying to subjugate other provinces. They were honest. So we should be honest in front of the Lord. So honesty is something close to humility. So just be honest. Just be yourself. So they said, Lord, we were like this. Okay. Now that you came and liberated us. So in the first shloka they are saying, but still we are in this material world. What can we do? How we can constantly remember you. So that is the essence. So constant remembrance of the Lord is the true liberation. So here the chapter title is Lord Krishna blesses the liberated kings. So kings are already liberated. So what is the blessing? So the blessing is the eternal liberation, the remembrance of the Lord, which they are asking. This is a true devotee. Just like Dhruv Maharaj. Dhruv Maharaj started, so he was having a tiff with his stepbrother. And then father is discriminating between him and his stepbrother. He's favoring his stepbrother more. So he wanted a greater kingdom, So he was a small boy. So as a 5-year-old boy, but he wanted with a Kshatriya spirit, fighting spirit. No, I was offended, so I have to go and take revenge. Goes to his mother, and the mother, his mother says, no, your father is favoring my co-wife. I mean, like, yeah, the my co-sister, whatever. So, I'm much, I'm helpless. But what I can suggest is, like, I heard that Lord stays in the forest, and I mean, Lord is there is a Lord who can fulfill all your boons. I mean, all your wishes. And then he asks, so how can I get that Lord? Then go to the forest. Learn sages go to the forest, and then they meditate, and then Lord appears in front of them, and then fulfills all the requests. So he goes, he meets Nagamuni. Nagamuni advises him, and he takes the process so seriously. Lord is so happy, and then he comes within 6 months, and then he says, "Oh, Dhruva, I'm so happy. Ask me whatever you want." Then, seeing the Lord, he's not able to speak anything. Dhruva Maharaj is not able to speak anything. Seeing the Lord is so satisfied. When we are filled with ecstasy, we are not able to do anything. We are like frozen. We say, right? We are frozen. So Dhruva Maharaj was frozen. He's not able to say. Lord understood his position, and then Lord placed his conch on Dhruva Maharaj's head, and Dhruva Maharaj started offering wonderful prayers. And then when we offer prayers, what will happen? The prayer is, you glorify the Lord, and we be honest. We tell our position, Lord, this is what I am. Simple. And then we say, you're great. So that establishes the humility. So once that is established, that is the platform for love. Humility is the platform for love. So that's why the prayers and everything, they help us to reach that platform of love. And then when we have love, then that is eternal liberation. That is what is there in the purpose. How do we remember the Lord Satatam, continuously? When we have love towards somebody. Like, we are in one part of the world, we are in US, and then we have relatives somewhere in the other hemisphere. So how do we remember? When we, to the extent we love, so we call them every day or WhatsApp, and then we take the photographs, and then we share the photographs, we see their photographs. So this is what, so when there is this love, automatically the remembrance is always constant. So this is what Dhruva Maharaj said, that, no, I don't want my kingdom, whatever is, because I got you. What is the use of all those things? I got a huge diamond. I was running after broken pieces of glass. So this is how we actually get liberated, free from our thoughts, our outlook of the world, everything, what we think is precious. So all these things. So we get liberated. So this is what the kings were saying, So how we can remember constantly, oh Lord, that means, like, how we can get that prema. And then the process is getting that prema. The process is, like, first of all, we become humble. So this remembrance is exhibited by many people. This smaranam, in Srimad Bhagavatam, great characters like Mother Kunti, Queen Kunti. What she says in the first canto, her prayers, he says that, oh Lord Krishna, now the war is over. Okay. So now you came to Delhi or the Hastinapur. Now you are going back to your place in Gujarat, Dwarka. But still, those kings who are defeated, they are all around us. So what will happen? You are leaving. At the same time, she says that, we always want to remember you. How? Because when we were in difficulties, we were always praying for you. So Kunti Maharani says that, let those calamities be always there with us, so that we will never forget you. So that is the extent of Kunti Maharani's prayers, that we want to remember you. For that, we are ready to be in any position, because it doesn't matter, Because when Lord is there, everything is auspicious. The Vrajavasis, or the people of Vrindavan, so they were happy apparently till the time Lord appeared. Once Lord appeared, every day there was a demon coming to, attack Lord. And there was chaos. Demon comes, their homes get scattered, and then, everything goes hayway. They were happy before Lord comes. But apparently, but the company of the Lord gives the supreme satisfaction, or the remembrance of the Lord gives the supreme satisfaction. That's what Kunti Maharani says. And that's what Prahlad Maharaj also says. Prahlad Maharaj, Kunti Maharani expresses, the humility is always there. In order to remember that good Lord very strongly, Haituki, Apratihata, uninterruptedly, what is needed is humility. Kunti Maharani says, now this is a Kunti Maharani says, I'm a woman, I'm not exalted, I'm not a spiritually exalted person. You know, so generally it is considered that spirituality is for men, but I'm a woman. And then, so but still, please consider my request. And then you see her prayers we are reading after 5,000 years. So spirituality is for everybody. It's not for men, women, or one part of the world or one species. It's for everybody, right? So, and then Prahlad Maharaj also says that prayer that Lord, he says to Nrsimhadev, oh, all these great devatas, they are of high lineage. They are born in great families. And I'm born in a demonic family. So it is very difficult for me to control my senses. Naivo Dvijayapur. So Prahlad Maharaj also says that I'm unqualified, Lord, but still, please bless me so that I can remember you always. So that's what Prahlad Maharaj. So he was also exemplary in remembrance. So the thing is, one important aspect to remember, to have this remembrance quite strong, is humility. So I was hearing lecture of His Holiness Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Swami Maharaj, SP Keshav Swami Maharaj, on the next verse, 1073, 16 to 20, recent lecture he gave in Juhu. So he was wonderfully telling some points. Either be humble or become humbled. So there are only two options. Be humble means be honest. How to be honest? Read the scriptures, read Bhagavatam, associate with the devotees, and then have some deep introspection, and then look into ourselves, so we understand where we stand and what all the anarthas we have, and then we can appreciate how Lord is protecting us at each and every step by giving such a nice sangha, by giving scriptures, by giving such a nice place to stay and then associate and then lead a good human life. So we'll be grateful for each of the blessings. We'll be able to count our blessings. So that is what, be humble. We can be humble. But but the other part is no, no. I'm good by myself. Spirituality is not for me. I have better things to do. So then what will happen? We'll be forced to become humble. The circumstances force us. We try to manipulate the nature. Nature is much more stronger than us, and it will make us humble. We try to fight. We think our body is great. The body, idam shariram parinama peshala patatyavashyam satasandhi jajjaram kimaushadham pruchasi moodadhurmate niramayam krishna rasayanam pipa. So this is a sloka by Kulasekhar Alvar. This is on the song book, Vaishnava song book. So it says that this body is subjected to changes always, and then it is made up of hundreds of joints. So when we are using a machine, a cycle, bicycle, something, any machine, so which has a lot of joints, screws, bolts, and then everything. So it functions well for to some point, and then sometimes we say, oh, I have to get a mechanic, so tighten up the screws. You see, any normal machine with joints is sometimes it goes for repair. So what about the body? Body has so many joints. Right? So idam shariram parinamapesham patatyavashram. So such a mechanism is destined to fail. Patatya avashyam shatasandhi jarcharam. It is made up of hundreds of joints. So then what is the solution? Kimoshadam pruchasi mooda durmate. O wicked mind, what else you are asking? What medicine you are asking for? Niramayam means an elixir which never fails, a medicine which never fails. Niramayam. What? Krishna Rasayanam Piba. Drink the holy names of Lord Krishna or his pastimes. So what happens? Like people say, oh no, I'm good. Spirituality is not for me. I have better things to do. So for them, the most important thing is, they stick to, they think the body is great, and then we'll fight everything with the body. We will achieve whatever we want, and then, so the world is out there, and then we can prove ourselves. But that's all based on, okay, our intelligence or bodily based relationships, which are going to, break at some point of time. So that is why, so either be humble by reading scriptures, shastras, and then everything, having deep introspection, associating with spiritually like-minded people. And then when they are with their association, we understand, oh, such great people, what am I? Who am I? So then it is easy for us to become humble. And then when we are humble, it is easy for us to develop love for Krishna or the remembrance. Okay. And then if not, then there is other path which Jarasandha took. So he was not ready to surrender to Krishna. And then, so he will be forced to become humble. So that is the first shloka. So the second shloka is much, so beautiful. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Pranata Kleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namah. Just what is the essence of our prayers? Just offer, pranams to the Lord and then glorify him. So what they are saying, Krishnaya Vasudevaya. So here the context is Krishna is coming to liberate, and annihilate miscreants, and then rescue the pious. So this work is mostly done when Krishna is in the Dwaraka mode. So, or when Krishna is the son of Vasudeva. Vrindavan Krishna or Nandanandan Krishna is busy playing and performing sweet pastimes. Here he's like a Sheval Rasaras. So Krishnaya Vasudevaya, the son of Vasudeva. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane. He is Hari, one who removes all the sufferings. Paramatmane. He is the four-handed form in the heart of everybody. He knows everything. So indirectly saying, Lord, you know our hearts. So you already know everything what is happening in our hearts. Haraye Paramatmane. This is the next thing, is the most important thing to meditate. Pranata Kleshanashaya. Pranata. Pranata means pranam. Pranam means one who offers obeisances, pranata. And then pranata means like it's much more. You're offering obeisances with a dainya, with a deep state of humility. So pranata. The one who offers pranam with a deep state of humility, so he is considered as pranata. And then, so what Krishna does? Klesha Nashaya. He removes the sufferings of those who surrender to him with that particular humility. Pranata Klesha Nashaya Govindaya Namo Namah. Govinda in this context, Govinda, one who gives pleasure to the senses. So these kings, they were like locked up in the prison for so much time. And then when Lord came, it was such a feast to their eyes. All their senses rejuvenated, with such a beautiful, wonderful appearance of the Lord. So Kleshanasha, it started. The miseries are getting vanquished. So yesterday we went to upstate. There is a temple, Ranganatha temple. So we took our small baby boy. And so we did this Tula Bharam. We keep him in a balance, and then we offer some items. So the priest, when he was about to start the process, so he made us recite several prayers, and then we recited this prayer. So it was so inspiring, that prayer, when we were hearing. So, and then when I came back, and then I was about to prepare for Bhagavatam class, so I saw this verse. So it was really, Lord, is very merciful. He comes again and again. So, and then this is a way to count the blessings of the Lord. Lord is very merciful. He's coming with respect to the temples. He's coming with respect to as scriptures and devotees. So he's coming again and again, intervention in our life. So just we need to count these things. And then, yeah. So the main thing is, so we saw in, there are various examples in the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, how people tried to manipulate, but they failed. Like we saw that we can see the examples of Kartavirya. So Kartavirya is one very strong king. He wanted, yeah, he got the blessings of the divine personalities, but he misutilized his power, and he started becoming arrogant, and then he was punished by Parshuram. And then and then there is one more example. It comes in Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's called Nahusha. So Nahusha is a personality. So what happened? So Indra kills a demon called Vritrasura, and Vritrasura is a great devotee, but Indra kills him. So in order to atone for his mistake, so Indra goes to do penance. And then when Indra is doing penance, somebody has to be there. Like the president is not there in the country. Somebody has to take a temporary position. So, temporarily that particular position. So Nahusha is a great king. So at that time, everybody felt Nahusha is qualified. So, okay, they called Nahusha and then said that, okay, please, you act as a Indra for the time being, till the time Indra completes his atonement. So Nahusha assumed that power, but if we are not able to handle the power, then there are problems. So Nahusha got attracted to the wife of Indra, and he was like chasing after her, and the Brahmanas did not appreciate that. So they cursed Nahusha, and then Nahusha fell down, and then he took the body of a snake. So this is how, so when we don't handle the boons or the blessings properly, so then so we will be removed from those blessings, and ultimately we will become humbled. We are forced to become humbled, and then again the path journey continues. It's not that we are doomed forever. So that is the one hope giving thing, bhakti. So always Vaishnavas are compassionate, devotees are compassionate, and Lord is compassionate. So when Lord is so much compassionate, who are we to stop? So that's how. And then again there is a process when how Nosha revives, and then all these things. So this thing is pranata kleshanashaya here in this context. So what is the kleshanash? So these kings are asking us, remove our suffering. Is it the release from the prison of Jarasandha, or is it the release from the thought process that we are the controllers, we are the enjoyers? So that is what we need to introspect. When Lord is going to remove the klesha or remove the suffering, so what it means exactly, so that we need to introspect. Okay, we surrender to the Lord. Lord, remove me from my disease, or Lord, remove me from my poverty. Many people say, why Lord is not responding? Is God existing? So what actually it means to remove the suffering, so that we need to understand. Recently, 2 days ago, uh, I stayed in Singapore for 6 years, and then one devotee whom we served together so much. He's 2 years younger to me. He moved to Hyderabad back, Recently, 2 days ago, I got a news that he left his body all of a sudden. He's young, and then he has a wife, good wife. She was also picking up in bhakti, but all of a sudden it happened. Entire Singapore congregation is shocked, is in a state of shock still. But Lord did not protect. Lord, people, they serve so much, they dedicate their life so much. So where is Lord's protection? Pranata klesha nashaya. Those who surrendered their lives, klesha nashaya. Where is Lord removing the klesha? So the leader of the Singapore congregation, so he asked us to take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So go deep and understand Lord's protection is always there. So we think that only this particular play of 60 years is all in all. So, but Lord says from the eternal point of view, everybody is connected to Lord. And then everybody has to go sometime or other. For somebody, the call comes early. But the thing is, all are always connected. So that is the most important thing. So we are always connected to the Lord. So like that, other person is always connected. So we are always connected to the other person through Lord. So the connection is never lost. And then, so we meet sometime later. So Klesha Nasha, Lord gives this intelligence. What is the most difficult? What is the problem? Ignorance is the problem. And the knowledge, of understanding things in reality, in perspective of Krishna consciousness, that is the actual liberation. So that is what kings were asking. Please give us your remembrance. That is the actual liberation. And then because of that, the love towards you will increase more and more. So we summarize today's discussion. So we saw the kings were asking, we have a lot of material conditions, how we can remember you properly. And then we saw the aspects like, if we have humility, so then it is easy for us to develop love of God. And then when there is love of God, so it is easy to remember Lord. And then another point we missed is love of God can only be given by Lord himself. We can't snatch it. Okay. So we just please the Lord and Lord automatically gives it. And then we saw various examples like Kunti Maharani, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, their prayers, how they express their humility, and then they could achieve Lord. And then so we saw either we have two options, either to be humble by reading scriptures, introspection, discussion with devotees, serving the devotees. That is one way to be humble, or other ways become humbled by the nature's various forces. And then we saw also great personalities in Srimad Bhagavatam, so how they are forced to become humble. And then that is a way in which we can go ahead in our spiritual path. Okay. So thank you so much for your patient hearing. Any comments or any corrections, feel free.
Krsna Daya, Prabhu, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Temple room? Temple room? Lord Chaitanya's farm?
Hear us okay?
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect class. We can't exactly add to it. You've already explained everything very carefully. The kings could have asked for anything, not just individuals like Dhruva, but even entire religious systems. The goal is to get your sins forgiven, or the goal is to go to heaven, right? And if we say that, there's nothing wrong with those things, but it's not complete without the goal is like they were asking for. We just want to remember you, right? Krishna says, that Krishna is the compiler of the Vedas, he is the knower of the Vedas, and he's the goal. He's the goal of the Vedas. Where is all this going? Even in the Vedic house of Veda, many, many Karmakanda details about you do this and you get that, you do this and you get that, and you do this and you get free from that, or you get bliss, you get ecstasy. But the genuine highest level, Yoginam Api Sarvesham, one who abides in me with great faith, worshiping me in devotional service, Krishna says to Arjuna. So the way that we are given by our spiritual master to always remember Krishna is to have a prescribed duty and to take that up with our full heart. Just like Srila Prabhupada, his spiritual master said, go to the West. Or Prabhupada would say to somebody like Vaisheshika Babu, distribute my books. We're given a simple instruction, and the idea is to fill our whole life with that. It says the brahmachari lives in the house of the spiritual master only for the sake of the spiritual master's mission. Only, that's it. Prema Pum Arta Mahan. Love of God only. Religion without God is just a bunch of rituals and basically selfish activity disguised as religion. So we want to remember, like these wonderful kings, these devotees are saying, Lord, please remember me at any price. Queen Kunti, like you mentioned, she said, if that's what it takes to get me to remember you, then give me difficulties. Because that, for me, and not that I'm asking for difficulty, but if that's what it takes for me to remember you with great intensity, like it says that Gajendra the elephant, when he was in the grips of the crocodile, he was thinking of the Lord without any deviation, with great intensity and without any deviation. The focus on Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Anyway, you've already said all this very nicely. I'm just praying to Prabhupada what to say, trying to contribute some of the things we're hearing from our spiritual master. Okay, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
So much, Prabhu.
Thank you. Lord Chaitanya's farm. Where's
Yeah,
Lord Chaitanya's farmer? There he is.
E-I-E-I-O. Hari Hari Bo, right? Is that how you sing that song?
Yeah, yeah.
It is wonderful how one can listen to the Bhagavatam and Krishna's pastimes, and somehow these pastimes, though they are 5,000 years and a magical distance apart from our everyday pedestrian life, somehow they weave their way into our heart, and we understand that we are being whispered to, that there's lessons to be learned. What Jarasandha represents and how he was undone. And what Prabhu was saying about his friend who he worked with all of a sudden being taken. This comes into our everyday life. You get to a certain age. Adi always tells me all my god brothers are just leaving this world one after another after another. And so, Adi's like preparing, to make sure that, his projects are going forward into the future. And he's inspired many people to pick it up and to in great happiness, great enthusiasm, because it's a wonderful thing to do. That being said, all of us, at least online, have, you're gonna have to excuse me. I'll keep talking, but I'm going out in the rain here. I got to get the horses in. Many of us have materially enmeshed lives, and sometimes Bhagavatam class and that we're going through. So we just have to come to an understanding that Krishna is always talking to us through the Bhagavatam. Oh, inside? Okay. Sorry about that. So you know, there's all sorts of shelter we can take. I'm running out to get the horses and put them in shelter because a storm is coming. Otherwise, they'll tear the place apart. And so similarly ourselves, you know, there's a storm. Everybody has a particular storm in their lives. And we should always be aware that when things are going smoothly, we should expect a storm to come. Krishna will not let us off of that. And that we just always have to remember that if we can just take a deep breath, go to Bhagavatam class or open up the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will whisper into our ears that everything's going to be all right. That everything's going to be all right. That
Thank
we
you very
are
much,
indeed.
Prabhu.
Yeah. Haribol.
Ganesham Prabhu, when he was joining the movement, he said he would carry a piece of paper in his pocket that said, "You're a soul, you're a spirit soul." And whenever a storm would come in his life, he would take out this piece of paper from his pocket, read it, put it back, and he would go on with his service peacefully. Just a quick anecdote from Ganesham Prabhu's life. Krsna Daya Prabhu, back to you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, Bhima Prabhu, for preparing us for the storm. So always be prepared. And then, yeah, tune into Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Association of Devotees, like all great participants, regular participants here. So yeah, we will be prepared. Every day is a preparation.
Yeah, and then if we read Srimad Bhagavatam regularly, and if we stick to our sadhana nicely and sincerely, then all those storms, they'll become like a journey, not a random event that is just distracting us from self-enjoyment. It'll become a journey, meaningful, sort of exciting struggle to overcome and see, can I see Krishna behind this situation? All right. And it's fun, it's joyful, going through difficulties in the association of the Bhagavatam, in the association of the Acharyas. We have devotees like Bhaktivinoda Thakur on our side. We should have nothing to fear. We are in good hands. We are at good feet, I should say, as devotees.
Yeah, I heard one more point that the journey itself is beautiful. We are thinking somewhere in the destination we'll be happy. Bhakti, the journey itself is the goal and the means are the same.
Yeah, the journey is not morbid. The journey is beautiful. I'm trying to get Jeffrey Prabhu to smile. Okay, all right.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I'm having a difficult time smiling today, but I would say that what Krsna Daya Prabhu said about these kings are not simply asking for a boon or for liberation for selfish reasons, but a boon to remember Krishna, and that it's not blissful stupidity. It's not this ignorance of the struggle that makes the struggle beautiful, but the fact that we have each other for the struggle. That we're not, bumbling around, just joyous with no reason, or joyous in lieu of knowing what's going on around us. We are aware, and we feel that pain and that struggle, and have those fears of the time factor, and we deal with them with joy because we're grateful, not just because we're ignorant of the difficulties of life. And I think that that's a key piece to remember, is that especially for those devotees out there or aspiring devotees out there who are going through what we call tough times or pain, that pain is also part of the joy of remembering Krishna and remembering that we are loved by the devotees, we are loved by our sangha, that and that's a function of our love for the devotees, for sangha, for Krishna, that we put that out and that it comes back. And so this reciprocality of our existence, our mere consciousness is reciprocal. And so that even when there is pain, even when there is heartache, that there is beauty. And to the extent that we can come out of the prison or the cave, recognize it and ask to remember it. And that is gorgeous. But it's not always painless. Haribol.
Wow, Jeffrey Eckler. Wow. I'm speechless. Okay, darshan time, everybody.
Sadhu Narahasya Govind.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Shri Radha Muridhar Gaurachandran Sri Bhagavan Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Afterglow. I'm still processing what Jeffrey Eckler Prabhu said. And I was thinking there were 20,000 of those kings in captivity. And it was 22 of us earlier, it's 15 of us now. And I was thinking, we need to choose to leave the cave every day. Right? It's not that you leave the cave once and then you're free, frolicking around. No, we put back in the cave every day. We have to, every minute pretty much, we have to make this conscious choice to get out of the cave and see Krishna, acknowledge Krishna. And when it's done in the association of the devotees, that's what makes it beautiful and basically doable. Otherwise, we don't have a fighting chance. in our little captivity, rambling on. But thank you. Thank you, Jeffrey Prabhu. Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. Adipurusha Prabhu, thank you. Thanks to everyone on this call. Would anyone like to speak? We can take one more reflection. We've already said that we're all going to die, so that's covered. So, any other reflections? Yeah, Bhima Prabhu?
Be careful not to fall in love with the dream.
All right, thank you. Thank you for keeping us sober. My wife once had a dream where I cheated on her, and I had to apologize. Adipurusha Prabhu?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
One basic point in the verse, very essential point. They're asking, how do you get that constant remembrance of Krishna? And then, if I remember correctly, it said, you ask for it. Only by Krishna's grace can you remember Krishna. That's what the verse says. So you get what you ask for. If you ask Krishna, please, what is it? That's one little song on Krishna, remember me when this life is ended. Krishna, remember me. Take me to your kingdom splendid. So if we ask for it, that's what we get. You asked for it is the title. Be careful
Thank
what we
you.
ask for, right?
Can you sing that song tomorrow morning? No, that should be our Monday morning song. When the life is ended.
Krishna, remember me. We'll ask Krishna to remember me, but actually we want to ask Krishna that we can remember Krishna.
You know what's really wild?
What?
Go ahead, ask me. What's really wild?
What's really wild?
Beam as well.
Yeah, you are wild.
What's really wild is if you really read the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam and Prabhupada's Leelamrita and the stories of the acharyas, of the saints, this desiring to go back to the kingdom splendid is another trick.
Yeah.
We have to desire simply to do Krishna's will.
Right.
And if that means he's going to thrust us back into this dream to help wake up some people who are sleeping, then that's the way it's going to be.
Very
Haribol.
Thank you. Thank you. Adipurusha Prabhu, did you wake up Das today in class?
Das is in a deep trance of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
One time Prabhupada was sleeping on the train and a devotee said, Prabhupada is sleeping. And then Prabhupada immediately picked his head up and said, write this down. That even though he was in a level of deep sleep, he was thinking of Krishna and devotional service. That's what Das is like. He's like fixed.
Yeah, he's like Prabhupada. Chitakirti Prabhu has a memory where he was in the room and Prabhupada was sort of maybe sleeping, and Chitakirti Prabhu said, as soon as I started thinking that, oh, Srila Prabhupada is actually sleeping, one eye opened immediately. Srila Prabhupada looked at him with one eye. Does Das do that?
I don't know. I have never noticed that.
It depends on whether you have prasadam in your hands.
Right.
Yeah, I'd say something, but I'm kind of sleepy right now.
You can sleep talk.
Just waking up, class is over. Yeah. Wow. I was thinking about something. I don't know if it fits in at all, but I was just thinking about this whole thing about how the occurring world, like how the world occurs, and then how, if we can get into the world of like how there's
Das, we're losing you. It's so
you can-
choppy. All I heard is reoccurring world or something like that. That's all I heard.
Say? Hang
We're
on a
losing-
second. Let me jump in here.
That's my world, the reoccurring world. It keeps reoccurring. I still don't learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over by
You got run over by a bike?
we don't want to, so we're being
Oh,
careful.
okay. Yeah.
No, you mentioned your dream, and I can remember also having dreams on second time that you'd wake up and you thought, oh, I fell down, and you'd like, oh no, I fell down, and then you're like, oh no, and then you wait a minute, I didn't. It's a dream. Oh gosh. Anyway, I'm just waking up.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
Das, what were you saying? Das, you were saying that you experience the world as reoccurring, and if you can sort of see it from another person's perspective as similar, then you started
Yeah.
getting choppy.
Yeah. It's I had a dream last night that had me think of that. I woke up in the middle of the night with this dream, and somewhere that thought came to my head. It's something I learned in a seminar. It's how, and I can't remember exactly when, but how the world occurs, and then there's how the world occurs to you. I was trying to figure out how the world occurs to somebody, and it gave me some peace, because it's like, if you can get that everybody's doing what they're doing because it occurs to them that that's what there is to do. That's the only thing there is to do for them to do, because that's what they're doing. There's
That's
nothing
why
else they can do.
That's
And
why
then
it's so important.
Go ahead.
Just on that point, Das, I don't mean to interrupt you, but before you go on to another point, that's why it's so important that the guru, what marks a guru is that he comes to the disciple, that he goes to where the disciple is at. It's called empathy. And what you're saying is that you're realizing that we're all in these little spheres, these little worlds of our consciousness, and that in order to touch someone, in order to affect someone, to maybe redirect them towards a remembrance of their beloved with a capital B, we have to have some empathy. So that's what I'm getting. What you're saying there, Prabhu.
Well,
is that what you're getting?
Well, it does give you access to that, because if you can get how the world occurs for you, if you can get how the world's occurring over there for that person, and then you can think like, how can the world occur for me such that the world occurs for them, that they're open to hear about? Because there's so many people, they don't even want to hear about Krishna consciousness. It's like, when you're talking to somebody, what do you talk about? And it's like a sword fight. You're talking with them, and you want to inject a little Krishna consciousness. So there's two things. One is how the world occurs, such that the world occurs, that what you're talking about occurs to them as something that's believable, real, and something that they're interested in. And then that was one part of it. But the other part was that it gave me a little peace to remember that the world's occurring to people differently. And that's how they're going to see the world. And if you're not conscious of that, you're not going to be able to relate to them.
You can't touch their heart.
You can't touch the heart. So it's Adi's saying.
No, that's what I said, Prabhu.
You're here for what?
I forgot what you said, Bhima.
It didn't occur to you what I said?
It occurs to me.
Ananda Bihari, we're getting a taste of your world here, by the way.
There's like all these planets orbiting around each other, and every once in a while the planets knock up against each other like heads, and there's the sound of like coconuts hitting. That's the world that's occurring when we get together.
Yeah. I just brought it up because I had this dream last night. I woke up with this thought, and I'm just trying to I'm actually trying to figure out how I had a dream about it and what it was meaning. But it gave me some relief. I got up, I stayed up, and I was really fired up. I chanted a bunch of rounds because it just had me so fired up, you know. I'm sorry I can't really explain it very well, but here's Adi.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the truth. They do this thing in the forum where they tell you these different lines, and then they ask you, well, what is this? You know, what's going on here? And they're actually quotes from different movies. Each person makes a quote from a different movie, and it's hard for them to connect to each other because they're each in their own little dream, and they're playing a different role in a different story. And nothing one person says to another makes any sense. But ultimately, there's the absolute truth that's true for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And we find that refreshing. And the spiritual master, Jeev, he wakes us up from those silly stories and dreams that we've created about, you know, what happened and what it means. And then when the spiritual master speaks, it becomes very clear.
So what do you say to somebody when they say,
the thing is that, and that means that you're all living in a bubble without any relationship, but we have a common loving bond. And then when we're engaging in devotional service together, the relationship becomes real. In applied devotional service, we can actually live together in the reality instead of in our own separate dream. It's so sad to see millions of people here in New York, and each one has nothing to do with the other person. They don't even care if the person next to them lives or dies. They have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea what's important. But when you do Sankirtan, you go out to everyone, and in a few minutes, you're actually able to give them access to devotional service. And it's like they treat you like you're their best friend. It's so mystical and powerful that, you know, when you bring somebody, we look at the pictures of the people distributing Krishna Prasadam, and they're lit up and they're smiling and they're, you know, we've had people who come out together and they say, you know what, I couldn't figure out how to connect with my daughter, but now when we're out here feeding these people, somehow or other we're on the same page. And that page is devotional service to Krishna. And without that, this lady told me my marriage died. She was telling me her plant died and the marriage died. It was just very quiet. There was no yelling or screaming, and the husband just went away. And but she said, when I was with my daughter serving that food, then we were on the same page. So I said, well, you had a physical relationship with your husband, you had an emotional relationship, you had a mental, intellectual relationship. What about spiritual? What were you doing to encourage each other in the service of God and to maintain your faith, you know? And when we do that, everything else falls in place. But without that, right, it's just a bunch of jumbled up parts that we're just so separated and alone.
It's sort of like Krishna there's two plays going on. One is a tragedy and one is a romantic comedy. And the tragedy is what those of us who are conditioned are on. We're in this play, and there's tragedy going on, there's war going on, there's the loss going on. And then there is on another stage the romantic comedy, and that is the romance being that we're all beginning to get to know somebody who's worth loving with a capital L. That's one thing. We're slowly becoming introduced to who our true beloved is. That's number one. And number two, he buffers all those tragic karma that's due us for sure. That's due
Right.
us. He buffers it, and then he makes us. Then in the end, we learn to laugh. We learn to laugh at what is happening. It's hard to do it in the present moment, but we know that we'll look back one day and we'll laugh, and we'll laugh because Krishna will have his hand on our shoulder and laughing alongside us.
In the Christian tradition, in the Apostles' Creed, it says, I believe in the miracle devotional service. I believe in the forgiveness of sins. I believe in the communion of saints. And this one preacher in Romania, Richard Warburton, he went into solitary confinement for years. They wouldn't even let the guards talk to him because they were trying to separate him from preaching. And he said in his solitary confinement, he would do the morning program, he would preach, he would sing, he would dance. And he said, I experienced the communion of saints because when I was praising the Lord, I felt connected to every other devotee who ever lived anywhere in time and space. But as soon as I stopped praising Krishna, then I fell into depression and lamentation. So it says if we awaken our love for God, our genuine affection for everyone will be awakened. Our genuine affection for everyone. So if we develop love for Krishna, everything else is there in devotional service, and we're connected to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Adipusha Prabhu. Thank you, Bhima. Thank you, Das. Karen, is Isaiah still around? We hope. It was a good class for Isaiah. Okay, there he is. Did you like the class, Isaiah? Yeah, good. Hare Krishna.
You can
Hare
ask a
Krishna.
question.
Thank you.
You like the class? Yeah.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Hare Krishna, have a wonderful week, wonderful life, wonderful life full of service, association, prasadam, and some storms here and there, joyful storms. We are in this together, Bhima Prabhu says always. So that's all good. It's all going to be all right. Hare Krishna. Thank you for encouraging us.
Right.